Welcome to No Stats, where we call it how we see it.
Back again with another one.
We are back again, good brother. And before we jump into this video, as always, viewers, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, ring that bell, comment. All comments welcome, good, bad, ugly. We've been going through these NFL team previews and record predictions. We appreciate the love that y'all been giving us throughout all the comments. We try our best to respond to all of them. So let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, and like I said, ring that bell and subscribe so y'all can stay tuned in because we still got some teams left to go before NFL kickoff starts. And then, as we keep mentioning, there's a lot of other things rolling out: fantasy football, NBA, college basketball, college football. Lock in. Ring that bell because you're gonna want to.
Love is love, baby. Love is love.
Watch the handle, it takes skill. We gotta run it back. We in the field, and you said it Jason Jack. You in your field, we looking for the facts. Let's keep it real, yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats. Yeah, we talking no stats.
Brother, we in New York. Concrete jungles where dreams are made of.
Shout out Stephen A. Smith, man.
We in New York, bro. We standing in NFC East. We just wrapped up the Cowboys video. We kind of moving out of order for our viewers. Like we started with the team that finished last in the division last year, but we've been moving out of order on purpose. We got a special treat for y'all. So stay locked in. Keep watching. We got something special for y'all about halfway through the video. But before we get to that, let's get to our regularly scheduled program. And let's talk about these New York Giants, bro. They had that, back and forth thing with Saquon Barkley, where they're going to franchise tag him. The running back market been weird, this offseason. The running back is becoming a devalued position, but with Saquon offers to the Giants and has offered to the Giants, he's been the face of the Giants for a bit of a moment.
Saquon, no Giants.
Exactly. And they paid Daniel Jones, right? So they instilling some faith in him. The main difference I feel about this Giants team that gives me a little belief in them is Brian Dable. I seen what Brian Dable did in Buffalo, and he was offensive coordinator when they were in that game with the Chiefs, that 13-second game 2 years ago. He was the offensive coordinator, and I think that's the best year of Josh Allen. And that's when everybody fell in love with Josh Allen. And that's when, after that year, the Bills were favorites to win the Super Bowl, all of that. And then he follows that up by going to the Giants, who nobody had making the playoffs, and going to the playoffs and getting a playoff win. The resume just keeps building, and I have no choice but to have faith in something like that. So Daniel Jones is a question mark for me. I don't know how you feel about Daniel Jones, but I just don't know if it's –
You question if he's like your franchise guy. Is Daniel Jones a franchise quarterback? And I think this is a prove-it year for him. This team last year, I think that he deserves the Brad. I could go back on my word later. You might could find some takes where I might have been like, I don't know.
No, I don't give you that money.
But, this team won 5 more games than they won the year previous. And they made the playoffs. So, and then you go out, you sign a guy like Darren Waller, who I'm going to take your term on this, the safety blanket. For a guy like Daniel Jones. The thing that has me skeptical, bro, is the running backs. We talked about this with Nick Chubb in the Cleveland Browns video. If you guys haven't tuned into that, definitely tune into it.
Do that.
But if Saquon goes down, which, knock on wood, God forbid anything where everybody to be healthy. But if Saquon goes down, where do the New York Giants fall after this? Who do they lean on? And that's some of the questions that I have going into this season, New York Giants.
Same, bro. I just want to see how they take that next step, right? Because Daniel Jones, your guy. You kind of solidified that with that contract. My thing is, has he been improving his game as a passer? But one thing about the Giants, historically, they've never really had big-name quarterbacks. We look at Eli the way we look at Eli because he got 2 Super Bowls and he beat Tom Brady twice. Eli wasn't oh, my God, this is a top 3 quarterback, top 5 quarterback in the league. Eli wasn't that. He just got there and did his thing.
Got it done when they
and
needed
had a
to get
great
it done.
supporting cast. Right. So Daniel Jones could do that, and they've been filling up some pieces, around him. But last season, the squad lost in the the divisional round to the Eagles, NFC champions. But they look to improve on that by adding, as you mentioned, Darren Waller. And as we record this video, I believe it was earlier today or yesterday, Isaiah Simmons, they traded for Isaiah Simmons, bro, who I like a lot, out of Clemson. He was in Arizona. They traded a 7th-round pick for him, which was a steal. Sometimes you see those trades, and like as fans of teams, you be like, we could have gave a 7th-round pick for Isaiah Simmons. That was a phenomenal signing. They get Bobby McCain at safety. They had Ashawn Robinson, Raheem Nunez-Roches. They had Jamison Crowder, Paris Campbell, a set of wide receivers, to that wide receiver room to help some guys. Because I think that's the weakness of this ball club, having wideouts, reliable wideouts. They bring in Bobby Okereke. Not two cornerbacks. They're bringing Amani. Here's another one I'm about to stumble over. Ororari. Right.
They drafted from the same tribe.
Help me out, Giants fan. I do got this one though. They drafted Deontay Banks out of Maryland. Speedy cornerback. We'll see how fast it takes him to, adapt to this NFL culture and game speed. And then they get John Michael Schmitz at center, beef up the offensive line, and they signed Jalen Wyatt, who they also expect a lot of. So they got 3 wide receivers, a tight end. They added to the offense. They get a linebacker, a safety, pair of defensive linemen, pair of corners. So they kind of touched everything, and they really didn't lose much, right? They lose Kenny Galladay, who really wasn't doing much over there anyway.
Very inconsistent last
year.
Very
his expectations were so high, and he didn't deliver. They do lose Landon Collins and Julian Love. Landon Collins his production started to decrease and tanker off, later in his years with the Giants. To me, Julian Love is a guy that I did like. They lose Fabian Monroe, Richie James at wide receiver, Nick Gates. They lose some guys, right? But I feel like the additions, not even in a numbers wise, not even quantifying it, but
got
I feel
a
like
lot
the
of
additions, yeah. But the additions outweigh the losses impact. From an impact perspective, I think they get some big pieces. I think Darren Waller, and for my fantasy football guys, I want Darren Waller on my team. I hope nobody in my draft is watching this. I want Darren Waller at tight end. That's a guy who
somebody get a steal. Somebody take his pick.
Yeah. Nah, chill.
Are they? I'm gonna save this question for later.
All right. Yeah, but this is a squad, man. I think so. The NFC as a whole, right, is viewed as the JV of the NFL. It's viewed as the weaker conference because the AFC is so stacked and the AFC has the quarterbacks, right? But the Giants are in a different situation because they have the Eagles and the Cowboys, 2 of the top 3 teams in the NFC just in their division, which makes it even tougher. They were able to make the playoffs last year with that, but you kind of expect it. The Eagles aren't going nowhere. Neither are the Cowboys. They both, depending on who you're talking to, got better. So that's tough. You do have the Commanders in this division, and we'll get to them. Stay tuned for that one. But
it'll be a good video.
I think the Giants are in a situation where they just need to make a wild card. Giants fans, I'm sorry, but I don't think they can win this division. If they win this division, I will be shocked.
Are we looking for a friendly wager? Post in the comments. Seth is
I'll
always good for a good bet.
I'll be shocked. But you think they can win the NFCs?
I think it's odds are stacked against them, man. I think it's tough. Like you said, the top 2 teams in that division all got better. I know the Eagles lost a couple guys on defense, but they did a all right job plugging in a couple holes on the defensive end. So I gotta see, man. You got Daniel Jones on a new contract. You go out, you sign Darren Waller. You go out and sign all these pieces. how is Saquon? How productive is he going to be this year? I think it's just get him a first couple games, and I think we can see how this New York team is going to pan out.
Agreed. And all our eyes are on the other New York team. It just got Aaron Rodgers. A lot of the eyes. Exactly. The eyes are over there. So we'll see how they perform with less pressure. Sometimes that's good for teams. But before we jump into the record prediction, bro, do me a favor. Notify our guests. Let them know to join, the conference, so we can talk about this.
This is my man B-Gal, straight out of Penn State Scranton. Met through the game we love the most, basketball. Sharpshooter, very smart when it comes to the sports side of the game. One of the biggest Giants fans I know. I want to introduce y'all to Brian Gallagher, our first guest on No Stats.
First guest.
First of many. Joining us soon.
Yeah, he'll be coming in soon. First of many. He's a Giants fan. So that's the significance of bringing in, as Peach call him, B-Gal. That's the point of bringing him in. So let's bring him in here. B-Gal, what's going on, man?
Dude, what's going on, my guys? What's going on?
My guy, Brian.
Talking some Giants football, man. Football. I was just telling Peach, I think the Giants need to shoot for a wild card spot. I think it's almost not impossible, but it's tough to win that division.
It's not feasible to win that division. I mean, the Eagles they're just stacked. I mean, you're telling me you get Jalen Carter after going to the Super Bowl? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah.
I honestly think the Cowboys are still really good too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think the Cowboys
it's a wild card for sure.
Okay, now go ahead, Peach. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I want to ask you, what's your game prediction next year? You guys were 9-7-1. Y'all made the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Congratulations. But what's your win projection this year for this team, man?
It's funny. I actually went game by game yesterday. Now the schedule is a lot harder than it was last year. So you're like, well, theoretically, if the Giants went 9-7-1, they should be better. Not the case. I mean, their schedule's pretty brutal. They got the NFC West. I'm trying to think who else they have. I had the schedule in front of me.
Can you see our screen, B-Gal?
Yeah, I got you.
Because we got the schedule. We're pulling the schedule up now. If you can see it here.
Oh, okay.
If you can.
Oh, and so they had the NFC West, and then they had looks like
they have the
West. Oh, the AFC East. That's who it
is. Yes.
And I mean, the AFC East might be one of the best division. Probably will be the best division in football next year.
Agreed. We were just talking about how the other team in New York is going to get all the eyes.
That's fine. That's good.
Yeah. All right. So, B-Gal, before we jump into this this record prediction, right, and we ask you more questions on the season, we're just going to run through our win-loss predictions, right? And then I'm going to give you a chance to rebuttal against some of these wins and losses. How that sound?
Sure. Sounds good.
All right, let's get it. All right, so week 1, Peach, they're home against the Cowboys, and we just did the Cowboys video, right? And we were saying how the Cowboys haven't beat Dak Prescott in, what is it, a couple of 1,000 days or something like that. But I think the Giants. Yeah, I think the Giants can win this one though, bro. I think at home opener. I think with the loss of Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy taking over play calling, I think some things may be a little sticky to start with the Cowboys, right? So I think the Giants can win week 1. Week 2 at Arizona, I think is a layup. I think this Cardinals team will probably get the first pick in the draft. I keep saying that every record prediction.
As soon as the Cardinals is on the schedule.
Yeah, the Cardinals is a layup. Week 3, they're in San Fran, which would be a good game. But I think the 49ers just have too much from a roster standpoint for the Giants to go on the road cross country and get that W. Week 4, I think, will be a good one. They play Seattle and they host them at home. I can see this game going either way, but I gave the Giants the nod at home. I think the Giants' defense will be able to slow them down a little bit. I could see this being like a 24-21 field goal game by the Giants. But week 5 and week 6, they got back-to-back road games against this AFC East that Big Al just mentioned. In Miami, if Tua is healthy, I think the Dolphins might just have a little too much offensively for the Giants. And then in Buffalo, I'm just going with Josh Allen over Daniel Jones here, pretty much. And I think the Bills
Mr.
are
Franchise Daniel Jones.
yeah. So I'm going Bills. I'm going Bills there. And then week 7, 8, 9, 10, Commanders, right? I got the W there. Jets, even though it's home, I think that's going to be like an away game, to be honest. So Jets, I have a loss. I have them beating the Raiders, and then week 10 in Dallas, I have a loss. So through the first 10 weeks, what are they? 5 and 5? 500. All right. So before we jump into the latter part of the schedule, how you feel about 5 and 5, big guy?
If the Giants are 5 and 5 by the midway point, I'm 100% good with it because the schedule early is absolutely brutal. And like we've talked about, last time the Giants made the playoffs until last year was 2016, and it's been a debacle ever since. So if we're 500 by the time midseason rolls around, we're still in contention. I could take that 100%. 100%.
Agree. Especially with a late bye, right? And it looks like to me the schedule gets easier that second half. You got the Eagles twice, but outside of that, I think every game is winnable.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So before I jump into the second half of this schedule, I was telling Peach how much I think Brian Dable, I think that part of it you got right. You got your coach. I think Brian Dable has changed the culture. And as long as you have him, I think you'll be in contention for a while. How do you feel about Brian Dable as a head coach?
I mean, I love Brian Dable. I mean, obviously you saw what he did with the Bills with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was kind of pedestrian until Brian Dable came in, and he really developed him. And you kind of see it with Daniel Jones as well. At the end of last year, he started playing a lot better. But Dave's is a total game changer for this team. And I could even argue that the GM, Joe Shane, has done wonders for this team. Peach knows because of my Snapchat stories. He knows I hate Dave Gettleman. With every burning passion in my body, there was no worse general manager in the history of the NFL than Dave Gettleman. And I swear to God, I will die on this hill. Die.
Oh, man, that's what I look forward to for football season, man, because don't let the Giants lose a winnable game. Oh, they're going to hear from me, man.
It's not good. It's not good.
All right, Big Al, switching to the quarterback with Daniel Jones. I need your honest opinion on Daniel Jones. Are you comfortable with him for the next, 4 years the contract was?
Yeah, so it's 4 years, but they have an out after 2. I think he's got 82 guaranteed, so which isn't really terrible for the quarterback market these days. Look what Justin Herbert just got. Justin Herbert just got like $65 million. Like he's at least starting at $60 million, and Joe Burrow is probably going to get 65, 70 probably. But for everything, all things considered, I'm totally fine with it because here's the question though: who else were they going to get this offseason coming into this year? Because they weren't going to have a good draft pick. They were going to be picking in the 20s, that's where they were. So I feel like they had to do something. And you weren't probably going to find anybody better than Daniel Jones. Listen, I've been a Daniel Jones defender for a couple of years now. When his rookie year with Pat Shermer, he was really, really good. And then you brought in that clown, that gym teacher, Joe Judge, and then he couldn't do anything. Yeah, Jason Garrett, drawn. He had 3 guys doing the same round on the same side of the field. He couldn't do anything. Now he's a broadcaster for my other team, Notre Dame, which that's hard to listen to. But they finally got a guy in there who could develop a quarterback, and I'm comfortable with Daniel Jones, especially the way he played in the playoffs last year. I know the Eagles game was it wasn't great. I mean, the Giants were just totally overmatched in that game. But I am very comfortable with Daniel Jones, especially because the way I've seen everything I've read this offseason and in training camp, he's been really good in camp. And he played really good in the preseason game. I know it's a preseason game, but he did play really well, and he looked comfortable. and especially at the end of last year, he looked comfortable. So I'm expecting a big year from Daniel Jones for sure.
Me and
Nice.
you both, man.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
ask you before we go over
Good.
to the second half of the schedule. How do you feel about the Darren Waller signing? I felt like that was
So,
big for you
oh
guys.
my God, it was huge. I mean, they traded for him for a third round pick, and like the Raiders had an offer from the Packers last year for a second round pick, and they didn't do it. So for them to just get him for a third round pick, I mean, this is the first time, and this is why I'm high on Daniel Jones this year. Daniel Jones finally has a dude to throw to. He's not throwing to Isaiah Hodgins. He's not throwing to
Right.
Darius Slayton, which I like. I mean, Darius Slayton's been leading receiver for the Giants, fun fact, the last 3 years. But I think Waller's going to make a huge difference. And the offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, actually was with Andy Reid. So I think they're kind of not, obviously, he's not Travis Kelce, but I think they're going to use him a lot like Travis Kelce in that offense.
Agreed. I was just telling Peach. I hope none of the teams in my fantasy draft is watching this, because I said that's a guy I'm targeting in my fantasy draft. Big out. Before I switch to the defense, can you just elaborate a little more on the offense as a whole? Right, you get Saquon back. You had that little debacle, but he's back and he has his contract, his incentivized contract. Right.
Right.
You draft Jalen Hyatt. So the offensive line. Just talk about the offense as a whole. How you feel about it moving this year?
I mean,
moving into the year.
I feel cautiously optimistic. You know, as a Giants fan, you can't be too optimistic because since 2016, they haven't had since Tom Coughlin got fired, they haven't had a second. The head coach hasn't made it through his second year in the last 6 years. So I'm hoping the Giants can keep it on the rails. So Daboll can stick around because I really like Daboll. But I think the offense is going to be pretty good. I think they're going to be able to score. I mean, the offensive line is much improved. I mean, it really hinges on Evan Neal if he could take another step forward this year. He's looked decent in camp. It looked like he was a little bit better in the preseason game I saw. I wasn't getting just overmatched. It's all about the interior, though. If the interior offensive line and then obviously Evan Neal could handle, I think they're going to score a lot of points. Obviously, you have Saquon back, who was a big part of the offense last year. I think their pass catchers are upgraded with Darren Waller, and then you signed Paris Campbell from the Colts, who finally stayed healthy last year. So I think they should be pretty good on that side of the ball. If the offensive line could hold up, I think they could be, I would say, a middle of the road to, top 15-ish offense. So we'll see. So I'm cautiously optimistic on them.
Yeah, I think the same thing. Me and Peach was just talking about some of the additions, and we definitely feel like the skills players got a little better. Even with Paris Campbell, a guy with some speed. Ohio State usually produces some good wide receivers, and Indianapolis and Indianapolis isn't the place where wide receivers really go to shine like that. So maybe he'll get another jump in New York. But switching over to the other side of the ball before we jump into the rest of the schedule, the defense is. I think I might have more faith in the defense than the offense, me personally.
Good additions.
And recently, this is the perfect time we're doing this video because you guys just traded a 7th-round pick for Isaiah Simmons, who I love. Talk to us about this defense and Isaiah Simmons.
I mean, first off, we'll get into that Isaiah Simmons trade. Absolute baller move by Joe Schoen. I have no idea what those guys out in Arizona are doing because I know they want to be bad. I saw it rumored before we got hopped on the pod here that Arizona's kind of quietly saying that Kyler Murray isn't going to play at all this year. I think Kyler might be done in Arizona.
I think so too.
But
I think, you bring him in into Wink Martindale's defense. I mean, the defense was pretty solid last year. They need to keep Azeez Ojulari healthy this year. When he was healthy last year, he got a sack in every game he played in. The only problem was he only played in 5 games. So they gotta keep him healthy. But really, the only person they lost on the defense last year was Julian Love. He's my boy. He was a Notre Dame guy. But honestly, safety is such a plug and play position. You kind of could put not anybody, but you can kind of put guys back there and hold down the fort. But I think if Kayvon Thibodeau could take another step forward, and they're going to have some rookies playing. It looks like they're going to have 2 rookies starting at corner. But so we'll see how that goes. They might struggle early in the season, but if they can keep it together, I have all the confidence in the world in Wink Martindale. He did a great job last year, so the defense should be pretty solid. I'm expecting they will probably be a little bit better than the offense to start, but I think they're both going to be two solid units, to be honest with you.
Agreed. I definitely agree. We were talking about the NFC as a whole, right? And I called it the JV conference.
I mean, compared to the AFC, it definitely is.
Yeah, because the AFC is so stacked. But I think the Giants, right, after making the playoffs, that's a lot of momentum. So I think they're headed in the right direction. There's some confidence. There's a culture building over there, and some belief. And it sucks that you guys are in the NFC East with the Eagles and the Cowboys. And and the Saints and that NFC South division gets to win 8 games and make the playoffs, but
right.
and get a home game. But I definitely think you guys are headed in the right direction. But
yeah, for the 1st
let's get
time in a while, for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna get into the rest of this schedule. Week 11, you're at the Commanders. I kind of have this as one of those those tough, hard-fought games. The Commanders upset one of these teams every year. I mean, they beat the Eagles last year. I think this can be one of those games where the Commanders beat the Giants. So I have a loss there. But Week 12, you follow it up at home against New England with a W. Headed into the bye week. Come out of the bye week, you play the Packers. I think this Packers team still has a lot to figure out. I'm not too high on Jordan Love just yet. I need to see it to believe it.
I think he's gonna ball out, but we'll save that.
No, you are.
I think Jordan Love's gonna ball out. Like, finally, I'm in the game, man.
Yeah, I got the Giants getting the win there. Then at the Saints, I also have a W, right? So I have the bye, I think, comes in at a good time. I think you win before the bye. You get 2 weeks to prepare for the Packers. You win that Packers game, and then the first game of that road trip, you beat the Saints. Second game of the road trip, a little bit of a tougher match. You got to fly to Philly. I think you lose that one in Philly. But then I think you end the season off, right, and I'm noticing this now, Peach. We said 10-7. I didn't update the season record prediction, the total.
And we went
but
10-7.
Yeah, it's 10-7. So it's 10-7. So losing to the Eagles, beating the Rams at home, and beating the Eagles week 18 to go 10-7. We had that Eagles game as a loss, right, Peach? And we changed it, after we went back and forth. So, Big Al, talk to us. 10-7. Are we more optimistic? Are we too optimistic?
I do. I actually have the Giants at 9-8.
9-8.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
we're right on track.
So
right.
I'll go through what I have, and I'll just do a quick spiel. So week 1, I'm with you. I think if they're gonna get through the chunk of their schedule and be in playoff contention, they gotta beat Dallas. Haven't beat Dallas since 2016. I think, like I said, I think Dallas is still really good, but I think that's a game you gotta win. Arizona, absolute layup. You have to win. They're not favored in any game this year.
Wow.
I mean, after you make that trade today, I see why. San Fran, I think they have too many weapons. That defense is too good, so that's a loss there. Seattle, I think at home, they kind of blew one last year to them, so kind of a revenge game. So I think they could win that one. Miami, I agree with you, what you said earlier. I just think they have too much speed on that side of the ball, and I think those rookie corners are going to struggle on that one. Then they got the Bills. That's probably another loss. I just don't see it. I think the Bills aren't as good as people think they are. But,
they aren't. Can I stop you really fast, B-Guy?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. Could we be overlooking this Week 6 game? Because this is like a Brian Dable going to Buffalo. Me and Peach always talk about these revenge-type games. Could they beat? I think they could. I don't think there's like an absolute loss.
No. I don't think it's an absolute loss. I just think, their defense isn't as good as it's been. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds went to the Bears. I mean, that was a huge part of their defense, but their defense is still really good.
Yeah.
But I just think, they're like the veteran team playing like an up and coming team. I think that I think they have the edge. I just don't see them winning that game.
Okay.
Then we go to the Commanders. Got to get that one. There's no excuse. Got to get that one. Then you go to the Jets. I was looking at the Jets schedule today. I don't know if you saw their schedule. Their schedule early on is absolutely brutal. I mean, this is one of the lighter games on their schedule.
Yeah.
they're going to do something special. They have to win this game. And I know it's like, it's week 8. Like, there's not must wins in week 8. I honestly think this is a must win for the Jets early in the year. So I'm going to have a loss there. Then they got the Raiders. I got a win there. Then they go to Dallas. I think Dallas, since I'll take a like an even split there in the series. So I got a loss there.
I'm gonna stop you real fast, Big Al. So we're neck and neck through the first 10 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
we got everything.
I was looking at the schedule.
Oh,
like I was looking on the screen.
Nice.
I'm like,
okay.
This is pretty accurate. I'm like, wow.
Nice.
I was
nice.
actually trying to figure, I'm like, where are you losing me at?
Yeah.
And when you lost me. You got me on the Commanders. Now, they did tie last year. The Commanders are tough. I mean, I think Ron Rivera is a good head coach. But maybe he should stop throwing his assistant coaches under the bus to the media. But that's just me.
True.
True. But I think if the Giants are going to make a run, they're going to have to get that game. And then I have them beating the Patriots. Obviously, Bill Belichick is a terror for young quarterbacks. But I just don't have any confidence with the Patriots' offensive side of the ball. I know Bill O'Brien's back there, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the bye, so that's good. Right? And then we go to Green Bay. I actually think Green Bay – I actually agree with you. Yusef, I think they're sneaky. I think they're actually a sneaky team to win the division. If you're going to bet a team to win the NFC North, I actually think the Packers have a lot of value.
Betters, y'all heard it from Big Al. Lock it in.
I wouldn't trust you with your money. I wouldn't trust myself with your money, but I think they're sneaky because the defense is still pretty good.
Right.
And Levis looked pretty good in camp and in preseason so far. So
and the offensive line is good. That's vital for a young quarterback.
And to go back, ball club too. Like they're not young. You know what I mean?
No,
so
not at all. And to go back to the Giants here, I think that sets up a young quarterback for success. I mean, look what Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has run his life for the last 5 years. You know what I mean? They finally got the offensive line somewhat situated. Still got a ways to go, but they have it somewhat situated. And then the Saints, I don't know. I think the Saints are actually going to be pretty good.
I think so, too.
I mean, obviously that division stinks, but, like, somebody's got to win it, right? Somebody's got to win the division. So I got a loss there. And then the Eagles on Christmas Day, it's going to be one of the worst Christmases of my life. So that's going to suck with the loss there. And then they got the Rams. I got a win there. And then now, I can see this game. I kind of agree with you. Depending on what the Eagles do, if they're in contention if they have the conference locked up, they'll probably rest the starters like they did last year. But it could go either way. I have a loss for now just in case, just because I don't know if the Eagles are going to be able to run through their schedule like they did. I know their schedule is really tough in the beginning of the schedule as well. So we'll have to see. But so I got them at 9-8. I got the Giants at 9-8 this year. And
I'll
be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and that's what we had them at originally. Like I said, we changed that Week 18 game to a win, figuring that the Eagles would kind of wrap up something, and the Giants would be able to pull off that win. But 10-7, 9-8. Yeah, 10-8, 9-7 sounds pretty fair. Now, I usually ask Peach this. But since we have a guest, Peach, you're not getting asked this question. I'm giving it to D guy.
I don't mind turning it over to my man B. If it's anybody, it got to be B.
Based on our record prediction, right? I always ask Peach, give me one W that you would turn into a L, that you could see being a loss, and one loss that you can see being a W.
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe the Packers, just because I think that the Packers are going to be a little bit better than what people think.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, out of their wins, it's hard for me to say. Maybe the Cowboys too. Like either the Cowboys or the Packers for me, just because one, Cowboys are a division game. They always play them tough, but they can never get over the hump. This year, I think they're going to get over that hump. And then a win that I think a loss that I think could be a win. I think maybe the Jets, just because we don't know how good the Jets are going to be. The offensive line looks like it's a major concern at this point. I know Dwayne Brown came off the PUP today or yesterday or one of those 2 days. So obviously they get a proven left tackle guy who's played in the league for a very long time. But those would probably be my two. I mean, if they lose any of those other games that are winnable, I mean, the Giants aren't going to meet their goals for sure. But hopefully they could get over the hump here and make the playoffs for a second straight year.
I like it. Pete, you got any questions for Big Guy?
I want to ask him too. With Saquon Barkley's contract situation, does he become a free agent next year again?
No, I think they're going to tag him. So I was actually thinking about this before I came on because I was expecting this question. Now, I know a lot of running backs aren't getting picked in the first round of the draft anymore, but let's say we'll go back. Those running backs are now getting screwed because they're on a 4-year rookie deal with an option. So any GM with a brain is going to pick up the option because then you don't have to go out there and find another running back. So then that's your 5. And then what the Giants are going to do with Saquon is they're going to tag him. That's your 6. Then they're going to tag him again. That's your 7. So before they even hit the market, they're going to be 7 years in. And at that point, nobody's going to pay a running back. So I think they're going to tag him again. And, I mean, he might be pissed about it. But, like, look at Dalvin Cook. The Vikings paid Dalvin Cook, right? Dalvin Cook is probably a top 5, top 7 back in the league. And the Vikings just had to give him up because they couldn't afford him.
Right.
Like, that's crazy to think about. Like, the Jets just got him for free, basically. They got him for free. And that's a top 10 running back. And, I mean, Breece Hall is really good, too. But, like, I just think the way the running back market is right now, I don't see any running backs getting paid. Like, Jonathan Taylor, like, there's a real possibility he doesn't play this year. Because I think he's done with the Colts. But I don't think any organization at this point in time in the season, I mean, I don't see a lot of teams having a lot of cap room right now, and they're going to pay a running back.
Right. No, that's a good take. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about him not playing. I was trying to think of what teams could make it work. I've been hearing like Dolphins, Cowboys, Bills, but yeah. But if I'm the Bills, I just drafted James Cook in the second round. Like that, you're not getting your bang for your buck if you're just going to go out there and grab Jonathan Taylor. But like, I just don't see these teams paying. Now, yeah, obviously you could go back to the Colts and then it's water under the bridge. But like, I don't know. Irsay's kind of a dumbass, so I don't really know what he's going to do. I mean, he's buying jets. He's showing off submarine. I don't even know what he's doing. I don't even like. You gotta keep your guys happy, and their team stinks anyway. They need Jonathan Taylor to sell. True.
Yeah,
Agreed. Agreed. Any other questions for Big Guy Bleak?
I think that's it, man. B checked all the boxes, man.
Man, listen, Big Guy. Oh man, you are a great first guest. You obviously know your shit.
First guest ever.
First guest ever.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
We got a T-shirt coming your way, Big Al.
All right, let's go.
We have a Commanders fan coming on next and an Eagles fan coming on next, so it's about to start rattling into the guests. But you are a first, and I think you set the bar high. And
Absolutely.
If you're willing to come back on during the NFL season, we're more than happy to have you.
Dude, I'll be a regular guest. Let's do it.
Nice.
It.
I love it.
Can't wait till we start talking about the Knicks.
Recaps. Oh, he's a Knicks fan too. That one might be pretty.
But I don't really
Knicks
watch
coming back.
the NBA. I don't really watch the NBA. Like, I'm kind of a closet Knicks fan. Like, I coach hoops, so like the last thing I want to do coming back from a practice or game where I'm frustrated as fuck is watch basketball, especially the Knicks. So I'm usually a closet Knicks fan until about March or April when the playoffs start. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
But
so for right now,
we got some
we'll
content
just
to
do
talk
the Giants and Notre Dame too for a little snippet for people out there. Big Al maybe some change last year on the game.
If you want to hear a great story, Peach would hit me up at about 10:30 every Saturday morning. He goes, "Bro, what you thinking about today, bro? You think Notre Dame's gonna win? You think Notre Dame's gonna cover the spread?" I'm like, Peach, I don't trust this team at all, especially when you have that bum Drew Pine playing quarterback. But let's ride. Let's do it.
Let's ride.
Let's go.
Peach,
lock in the minus 2.5.
how much money you lose on Notre Dame?
Bro, to be honest with you, I think I might have been like 4-1 maybe rocking with
Okay,
B-Gal.
nice.
We were pretty good. We were pretty
We
good.
were pretty
Nice.
good, man. I may have
Nice.
even lost off just the spread, not even Notre Dame money line. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And last year he hit me up. I was actually so my buddy actually lived in Syracuse, so I went up and we went to the game. And Peach is hitting me up like, "Yo, bro, what do you think?" I'm like, "Peach, I'm at the game right now, so like, we're riding."
Exactly.
Like,
All right, I'm in this year. Y'all sold me. Put me in the group chat.
all right,
In the group chat, man. Let's get it, man.
We'll do it up. We'll do it up.
Sounds nice.
The no stats pad.
Absolutely.
The no stats
Absolutely. Appreciate the plug. Man, Big Out, man, thank you so much, bro. Like I said, I guarantee you we're going to have you on. Again, we're going to talk some more football. So, appreciate it, man.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me on as your first guest. A lot of pressure, but I think I did okay.
You did your thing. You
set
did your
the
thing.
tone, man.
You did.
Thank you, brother.
No problem,
All right, bro.
guys.
All right, bro.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
You too.
Yes, sir.